Hey everyone, my name is Keaton Punch, and I directed, filmed, and edited the music video for the song Place Me by Eunith.
Hi everybody, I'm Eunith. My name's Matthew, and I had the privilege of working with Keaton, my friend, for this video, for this song, Place Me.
And today we're going to talk about the entire process that it took for us to create this music video, from pre-production, production, and post-production, which all happened very quickly compared to some other projects that we've had.
Really quickly, actually. So fast that we forwent certain things that we might have wanted to try. We were like, no, we can make it work in the meantime by doing this instead, so that it can all happen faster. So I loved it.
Yeah, it was an amazing process for all of us and everyone else involved. And it all started in the middle of summer with a concept that I came up with. I called Matthew on the phone during my lunch break, and I pitched it to you. I just said, I want to do this thing where you're chasing after a microphone, and then when you grab it, it just transports you to this new place, and then your whole band gets to perform, because we haven't done any videos since you have a band now.
Yeah.
All these band members, wonderful friends of ours, and I want to show that off in a music video, so that was the perfect opportunity to make that all happen, and I think you were pretty interested.
Yeah, I just thought, this is great. I love when... and it's hard. People talk about inspiration on demand, or how do you get inspired? But when that train comes sometimes, and I get a call from you, and you say, I'm feeling this, I really think that this is something that could work well, I immediately, 100% of the time, not even 99% of the time, 100% of the time, I'm always like, yeah, let's absolutely do that. So it was great. And like you said, being able to involve the other guys was so much fun, because it doesn't just mean that we're filming them. It means that we're also getting to hang out that night whenever we're actually filming that scene. So we all get to just, kick it some more. And I enjoy that part of the process a lot.
Definitely. And during the premiere party we had a short Q&A, and one of the questions came up with, how did I come up with the idea, or what inspired me? And I essentially just listened to the song several times on repeat. And I think quite literally the first lines of the song, Place Me Within Your Grasp, was the catalyst for this whole idea. I'm like, grasp. Maybe he could be grabbing a microphone or something. And then the whole visual with the low camera angle at that slow motion dramatic speed, and having that close-up of the microphone just bouncing across the ground as it's being pulled across the streets. That was just very interesting to me, and I've never done anything like that before. So I think that just motivated me to create this basic plots to form this whole entire music video, and it just worked out so well.
Yeah, I think we also didn't even know the physics of it, how it was really going to work. If we were dragging a mic around, or if I was chasing a mic that was moving, how much was it going to bounce? Would a road, would asphalt just destroy a microphone? We had no idea. It was kind of well, we'd hope for the best. Let's see this. And that was the purpose of all the pre-production and the testing, actually, in that sense. Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of challenges that came up with planning for this music video, because we had to figure out how we were going to film this dynamic action scenes of you running and the microphone being pulled and the camera being so low, and having all that control and precision at the same time. And we were kind of thinking on a car ride out of town, maybe we can get a go-kart or a golf cart or something like that.
Some kind of thing that has wheels or someone's pushing, maybe a motor involved somehow, just so that we're not hanging out of the side of a car, dangerously risking hurting ourselves.
Ideally, something where we can have a driver and the cameraman separate from each other, and not everyone doing the same thing. And that would have been ideal, but it's not what we ended up choosing out of convenience and what we had available to us. So during our practices, I came up with the idea of using a bicycle.
Yep.
I could ride the bike, hold it with one hand, and then I can hold the camera with the other hand. And to help assist with all of this, I had my ITZE rig on, and I had my monopod attached to the ITZE rig, which was attached to my camera, and then I had my monitor attached to the bike to the camera. So it's just this whole ordeal of wires and cables.
You're connected to the bike, yet also you have a bit of free movement, yet also if you stop, it's remember to unplug this part from the monitor, or else I'm going to tip over the whole bicycle, or I'm going to rip the camera off of the monopod. There's a lot of moving sophisticated parts. It felt like when you first learn about pulleys and construction, and you have maybe a Richter set or whatever it was called, and Tinker Toys, it felt like thinking once again in those terms where it's like, okay, can I create a new solution for myself right now? Can I invent some method and some arrangement of all of my tools in order to make this work? And you did it in record time, right? Like, didn't you just start clamping everything on, going, I can get this pretty tight. Yeah, it's a little loose today. Next time I come, I'll have a different clamp to get it really tight here.
Or like the handlebar metal was too slick, so I had to use some gaff tape to really have the monitor grip onto it and not slide around. Because every time we were testing it, the monitor would just like whoop dip down, and I couldn't see what I was filming anymore. The fun part with doing those practice shoots that we had about a week before the official film dates is seeing how good the results turned out just from the practice scene.
Yeah.
And I think you commented like, could we just use this? Like, could this be in the music video?
Like, well, is this just going to end up in it? Some of those test shots, and again, this is through the monitor. This is not color graded. This is not edited. This was just the shot previewing on the camera going, hey, let's play this back really quickly, and realizing how good it actually looks. It's that age-old kind of advice of get it in the camera as well as you can, to like reduce however much you have to do in post-production. And the things that got into the camera directly that we just were able to pull off in real life were just gorgeous.
Yeah. And none of those shots made it into the music video.
Damn!
I did consider sneaking one in there when something wasn't really working out, but we ended up just doing a reshoot to solve that problem. But during pre-production and during these test days, I just reassured you, I'm like, don't worry, like it's going to look... I didn't say don't worry, but I said just trust me. We're not going to use this. It's going to look even better in the official filming days, and it did.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is thanks to just practicing over and over again, riding that bike, getting comfortable with it, and having the camera just inches away from the ground, going at these speeds.
Practice makes perfect was truly like the name of the game for something like this. There were so many physical elements that it was like, come on, do we really expect on the first time to do this brand new physical motion that requires like balance and reorientation and, you know, splitting your attention between moving but at the same time doing something else, but then also kind of maybe making yourself not look dumb on camera at the same time. Just gorgeous. But anyway, you should take the test footage. We should just throw that on like video blocks or something and let other people use that if they want it.
Stock footage.
Just sell it as stock footage. Like, does anyone need like a mic being dragged across the ground in slow-mo? Here you go.
Yeah, we got it.
We got it.
Coming up closer to the official filming dates, I knew that I would want to have a bit more help in this production and a bit more people involved on camera and off camera. And it's not quite as much compared to the back here music video production, just because the concepts didn't really require a ton of people on camera, and we were fortunate to figure out some plot points that would accommodate having more people, and you made it a point to get specific people in this music video.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew well, I kind of said it when we were on stage at the BMAs. I said that one thing that I really wanted to do was to not just collaborate with other musicians in terms of making music, because everybody says that. Everybody wants to do that. And I don't deny that that's true. Anybody who says they want to collaborate with musicians, don't worry, I believe you. But everybody is trying to collaborate musically. What I wanted to do beyond that was also collaborate in video making, so that it's not like, oh, you have this this skin in the game creatively for the song, where now you have to promote it for this reason, or you're worried about your lyrics you contributed or the guitar line you contributed or what have you. Just being part of the video is a way of showing everyone else in the community, hey, we are all like a huge cast of characters, and we can create so many things just by relying on each other as a kind of, hey, can you stand in for this? Hey, can you act in this really quickly? Can you help me with this? Just like really easy. It's almost like a favor, but it's really fun. So I knew that I wanted other musicians to be in it, because we have tons of friends who are always willing to help and who we've dragged onto camera before. But when we had other musicians in the back of music video, it made me realize, we should do this with so many more people. So yeah, we reached out to many people, and some people couldn't even make it, so we would have even had more people actually in the video. So that is one thing that will continue, I think, in the future. We will always try and find a way to bring more of the local music scene into it, and non-local music scene. Hit us up, Vancouver.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad we were able to get some more artists involved on camera for this production. We got Lou Beauty, we got ITZE, we got Jehdiah,
Emile,
we got
Adrian
Diaz. And that was the 5 of them.
Yeah.
On
and
camera.
And Schuyler, Zach, and
True,
Scott.
the
Yeah.
band members.
It's just, got a lot of people in
and
there.
we had some new friends helping out this time behind the camera.
Yep.
We had a whole behind the scenes crew. We had Penellope and Jon doing video and photo behind the scenes, and it was so amazing to have them document the whole process, because it was just such an iconic production to capture, and they did amazing. So thank you too for doing that.
Yeah, thanks guys.
And we had Andrew and Aiden and Ramiro, so very important part of the production.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
It
was just really, really rewarding to have that many people involved, helping too, and also just really easy to work with. Not a lot of big egos in that crowd, which is crazy, because a lot of times, I mean, you probably know this, but a lot of times just in the arts in general, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's sculpture, whether it's theater, whether it's music, a lot of times big egos can be the thing that are like the elephant in the room, where it's like, well, today was kind of a difficult day because it's difficult working with person XYZ, but this was just smooth sailing with every single person we were hanging out with. It was just like a party every single day, just nonstop jokes, and then all of a sudden, all right, let's shoot the shot. Okay, let's do it again. Not quite. Got it. Just easy peasy.
Yeah, every day was so much fun and so easy for... actually, easy might not be the right word, but it was a lot of fun and super memorable because of how unique this process was for this production. It's unlike anything we've done before, and that's something that we try to do with each new music video, is just experiment with new ideas and come up with ideas that we know will be fun for us, even if it is challenging. And I think the physical demand from this production was one of the challenges that we faced. I know you had to do a lot of running.
Oh yeah, cardio all day, every day, man. This is the most cardio I've done in a really, really long time. I was actually speaking with another musician in town about this just a couple of days ago. I ran into Dan from Modern Wives, at Dagny's coffee shop. And I was talking to him about this process and how it was reminiscent of this small week in high school where I had missed a number of PE classes due to volunteering for something nerdier, probably. And then my PE teacher kind of leveled with me like, hey, you do need to make up all these running assignments. And by assignment, it means like there's a half mile you need to run, and then another half mile you need to run, and then like a mile, and then a quarter mile. And I'm like, okay. So I just did it. I was like, well, I don't want to get a bad grade in PE. So I did it, and I got faster with each time. I was like, what is going on here? And like, conditioning is really real. So each subsequent day that we were filming out here, it got easier to do all of that running. And I was even surprised with just my own ability to not die in the streets of this neighborhood. It was like a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, to see us physically pushed for maybe the first time in the productions that we've made.
Yeah, and there was a noticeable difference in your endurance and your form getting better each time.
Thank you. Form is everything.
And I definitely had to get better with my biking endurance because day one of our practicing, I'm just like, this is exhausting. I need to practice some more. And I did a couple times without you, just on the weekend, just to build my leg muscles and get those.
Yeah, you must have, because I actually don't recall you on the actual filming days ever commenting to anybody like, man, I'm tired, or man, my legs. I was saying that crap all the time. I was like, I'm just gonna die. But you didn't say anything, and you were biking all day long. Also biking with one hand that needs to be like kind of stiff to hold the balance, while the other one has to do the very minute, careful movements with the monopod. Just that was a lot. How are your legs now? Do you still fit into your pants?
Yeah, I do. They actually fit very well. Thank you.
Oh, perfect.
Let's talk about a detail that is a bit more in my specialty, and that is organization and getting things planned accordingly. So I wanted to make sure that nobody's time was being wasted during this production, and we could get it filmed in as few days as possible. So before we even started recording any of the official footage, I created what I call a descriptive shot list, where I essentially think of what I would see happening on screen during the song, during every part of the song, and just type out what I am imagining. And by the end of that, I'm able to read the music video, and we could all see what is happening during certain points of the song. So I was able to divide those into their own individual shots that I then printed out and had with us during each day, so we can just cross out each and every shot and just stay right on track for the whole music video, which is super efficient and helpful.
Oh yeah.
And I try to do it whenever I can, whenever possible.
Oh yeah. It makes it so that you know exactly. So you never get in that moment where we feel like, well, could we replace this with another shot? Oh, should we get another take of something like this in case we need to fill it out? We know what we need. Like we know what we need to not fill out or fill out. Like it's right there described for us. That is, yeah. Those are always a godsend. It's like storyboard.
Every single shot was just intentional. We knew exactly where it would be within the music video, so we weren't getting sidetracked. Just capturing like unique angles. Like I knew what angles I wanted. We had our list of angles all figured out. And also lighting was a big factor in this because the way the story flows and the time of this entire plot flows. We have sun in the beginning, and as it sets, you become in shadow, and that lighting continuity does matter, and it is important. So we try to make sure to keep that continuity consistent throughout every shot that we were getting. So basically everything before you acquire the skateboard had to be in sunshine or sunset, and then everything after that had to be after the sunset and shade. And that was a big challenge because we kind of thought we would get it all done in 3 days, roughly an hour and a half for each day, which is a very small window when you're racing against the sun. And we were off to a good start, but with the just quantity of shots we had to get, we knew we had to throw in just one more day of filming just to make sure that we got every shot that we needed that had to be in the sun or had to be in the shade, and also any other very difficult shots that we ran into that we weren't able to get on the first try.
Oh boy, yeah, shots that just could not be accomplished even if we technically had 10, 15, 20 minutes. Just the physical limitations of man. This man.
And I think the first huge challenge when it came to a specific shot that we had was grabbing the microphone. That very final shot before we transition into the hallway, that was a lot more difficult than all of us were expecting, and we did not get it the first day. We had to reshoot that.
We thought, did we reshoot it twice even? Or did we get it that second?
It was the second time.
Okay.
I did mention maybe after I figured out that extra bike arm attachments, like maybe we can try it again now that we have this, but we nailed it the second time. That was all we needed.
Just to give everyone a quick light little bit on the physics here. You're trying to pick something up off the ground, but if something's laying on the ground and you're picking it up, you typically touch a bit of the ground when you do that. But if you're moving kind of pretty fast on a skateboard on asphalt, you can't touch the ground because you're moving past it. You'll just scrape your hand, which I did do one time. I did scrape my thumb, and that sucked. Like the whole part of it was black from the asphalt, like on the side. It was bad, but it didn't bleed. It just scraped. So what we were kind of hoping and praying for the whole time was that we'd get a bounce of the mic of some sort, and that it would just be enough that I could ever so weirdly get my hand like a flower on here to kind of grab it up and then wrap my fingers underneath it. Like an insane task.
That was the vision. That was the goal. And the first day we attempted it, after several tries, you did pinch it.
I pinched it.
You pinched it, and I'm like, technically that could work, but it's not what I wanted.
Dumb.
And I went home and reviewed the footage. I'm just like, no, that's not how it's got to be. It's got to be just a grip around the microphone.
Grasp. Yeah. So that was that. Yeah.
And there were so many other factors in play at the same time because we had to have Ramiro, so he was pulling the microphone while he's skating and trying to keep his speed consistent with yours. And then I had to keep my speed to match the microphone so it stays in frame. And then my distance away from the microphone had to remain the same so it stays in focus because I never use autofocus. Like that's just one of the biggest things I learned when being like a proper filmmaker is you never use autofocus because if you ever see that focus like trying to find its subject in the middle of a short film, that's just like major amateur red flag. You never want to have that in any professional production. So I just made it a point in the very beginning. I'm like, I'm never using autofocus ever. So that was very difficult, and we did get it
right. You would cue me to speed up at that point. Once it was in frame and in focus, now I have a window of time where I can speed
you would
up.
tell Ramiro to stop stop
Oh,
pushing.
stop pushing so that he's not so much faster.
He's coasting.
So he's coasting, and
you
I
catch
give
up.
one more push, maybe two, so I can like catch up because I can't push while I'm squatting down to grab it. I have to also be coasting, but it needs to be faster speed. So it like, it's like a math problem nightmare from like the back of the book in like 6th grade, where it's like if Matthew's going this fast on his skateboard and Ramiro's going this fast on his skateboard, it's just like, oh no. But it was so worth it.
And we got that moment documented. It's in the behind the scenes. Go watch it if you haven't. That whole celebration happened right there. It was magical.
Yeah. It was actually incredible.
The other extremely difficult shot that we ended up having to squeeze into our reshoot day the next week was the intro shots. And intros matter so much. Like, you have to hook people in from the start if you want them to watch the rest of your video. And I had this vision since the very beginning for it to start on the microphone, close up, ground level, being dragged across the streets for like 8 seconds, and then the camera pans over and we see Matthew's feet enter frame and he's chasing it.
One like no cuts, by the way. That's the vision, was that it's all one take.
Yeah, and we did not even get close to getting it the first day. And after we had all our official filming days, the first week, I was thinking of ways to make that shot easier for us, and I came up with this very clever solution, and thanks to my assortment of clamps and arms and tools, I figured out a way to clamp my C-stand arm with my plastic pinchy arm to the bicycle and attach the cord of the microphone to that, so it extends and elbows out from the bike, so we don't need any more assistance. Not that I didn't appreciate Ramiro's help or anyone else's help, but for this specific shot in particular, we needed to be precise and very controlled. So this gave us the perfect solution. Yeah. And within 2, maybe 3 tries.
Oh yeah, it was like instantaneous.
We killed it.
It was instantaneous.
Yeah.
Makes me more elbow arms and more clamps. Like, that's kind of the solution I think that we've learned here. A lot of this is like, if you rig something so that it has to be in front of the camera and there's no way it cannot be in front of the camera, you're gonna get that shot. We didn't get that shot. But hey, I wanted to ask, we did kind of cheat a shot the first day with the sun, didn't we? You had me face the opposite direction on the street because you wanted it to look... What was that?
So I care a lot about continuity, and there are some times when you can break it if you have a certain vision to kind of achieve if you want. So I knew I wanted everything to be backlit because that just looks best for this type of video that I wanted to be very cinematic and dramatic, and I love having that contrast with the edge light and the shadows on the face. And for that shot where you're catching your breath and then you notice the skaters, I had you face the opposite direction just because I wanted to keep that sun behind you and behind the skaters as well. And I was also considering, with them being on screen for just a small period of time, I wanted to make sure that it looked good for them. So if it was properly shot with continuity in mind, they would have been being blasted with the sun and like all squinty face, and I'm like, I don't want that for them. So I just decided to break that lighting continuity just to make the scene look better.
Yep.
And the direction continuity was consistent, which I think is more important in the grand scheme of things. If you're going to break one of those continuity details, I think lighting is forgivable, but direction is very important. And so I made sure that every time we film you're always moving from right to left within this music video.
Direction continuity.
Yeah.
Okay? Straight from the director's mouth.
So that's why I did it, just because I feel like it's more important for the shot to look good than to be a little bit correct.
100% in the physical world, yeah. I didn't even notice at the time, and I didn't mean to insinuate that it was breaking continuity. I was actually asking you right now, like, why did we flip that again? I thought that it was. Yeah, I was trying to remember, like, why did we flip? We flipped it for a reason, and it was the only shot that was like that, and it looks great. You boys, you skater boys, look great. You guys should be very proud of yourselves for. Well, your parents should be very proud.
And I think also, I'll touch on that real quick and then we'll go into more details. So in your close-up, I have you look camera right because I wanted to make sure that when you lift your head up to stare down the microphone, that you're looking past the camera left because that's the direction that you need to always be looking for the microphone.
That's
the microphone
right.
is always on the left of frame. So I wanted to make sure that you're looking left first and then you look right, because I felt like it would, to me at least, it would be weird for you to look left and look even further left and not see any of your eyes anymore.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I could still see at least one of your eyes during that moment, just because I wanted to make sure that the emotion is coming through and everything makes sense for the viewer in that moment.
No, that was excellent. These are beautiful moments.
I had one more thought about the whole production in the streets, and then we can touch on everything at Mesh in just a second. I thought it was fun having Penellope and Jon kind of being your skateboard delivery assistants, because there were many points where I needed Matthew to go back to a certain point in the streets, and he had already been running and actually getting tired during those moments. So we had Penellope and Jon or anyone else available bring the extra skateboard to him so he can ride back and kind of reset during those moments.
Honestly, skateboards were such a great part of this whole experience. Everyone got on a skateboard at some point, I think. And we used extra skateboards, and I had extra skateboards. You had, other people had, and we were all just skating together through the streets often to get to another area where we wanted to do a different shot rather than walking over there. It was really great. It felt like, I don't know, it really felt like the last vestige of summer or something, which is crazy because it was October, but, here in Central California, it was almost still like summer, There were some hot days, actually. Yes, so you know what? Yes, it was still like summer.
And I'm so glad that nobody around the neighborhoods gave us any issues whatsoever.
No.
Everyone was just, super curious, oh, what's going on? just, asking us questions or just, looking and not disturbing us. And that was great because you never want to have that during a very busy production.
Vibes and the people kind of complaining. But one of my really good friends' babies did see us go in front of their house many times on the skateboard because, we would make a bit of noise. There's a lot of wheels on skateboards. You had your speaker on. Mm-hmm. A lot of people running by, and he is only 2 years old, but he saw us multiple times pass by and was like, what are they doing? Really wanted to see us. So she actually stopped by with him one of the days when we were filming after she'd picked him up from daycare so that he could say hi to us while we were actually filming. So we did have one really big fan in the neighborhood who wasn't complaining. He wasn't complaining about it. He wanted to be a part of it, which is the best case scenario that we could hope for.
I remember that, yeah. Very precious.
Thanks, Monty.
So I think now we can talk about our experience at Mesh filming on that final day of production. Shout out to our friend April. She got us the hookup at Mesh so that we were able to use their event room for our night of filming for a few hours while everyone else in the building was gone, and we can be as loud as we wanted.
Yep.
And
we got loud.
Yeah.
Oh, we got loud. Yeah. So
why do we have to be so loud?
Because we had a real drum kit in this room, and we had to sync up our playing to the recorded live audio, but we had the camera, moving around the room, so we couldn't have speakers hidden in the room or else you would see them upon rotating, so they needed to be in the doorway but facing into the room and blasting the audio loud enough that everyone can hear it. And it just so happened, just the way we laid it out, luck of the draw, that the drummer, Scott, it was farthest from the door, but he's the one playing the drums. So he's next to the loudest source of sound in the room. So many points of noise and difficulty, but we almost maxed out my speakers on their volume. That was insane. That was a lot of volume. We were all had earplugs in. We were oh yeah, absolutely not doing this without earplugs. That was insane, but I loved it. It was really cool. It's probably the loudest that room has ever been at Mesh, hands down. There's no way there's been something louder happening in that room unless they've literally had a concert. So thank you again.
I think that's true. Yeah. So yeah, the sound was a bit of a challenge for us. If it wasn't for Scott, it would be. I mean, nothing against Scott, but just it's got to be loud for Scott. But yeah, we had to figure that out for the audio, and the lighting was also a little bit of a challenge, but nothing that affected us too much. We fortunately had the help of our friend Joy, who has.
Thanks, Joy.
Shout out to Nor Photo Studios at Mesh. She let us use her studio in advance to test out our spotlight effect. I knew for the specific look of this scene with the band performing, I did not want to have any light stands or any lighting equipment visible around the band. So I wanted to figure out a way to light everyone all at once while still achieving that look. So I knew using my spotlight to bounce off the ceiling was very important to make that possible. And we figured that out. And then having the nan light tubes placed around all of the walls to light those up was also another detail that we liked. And the sort of finishing touch that we did very last minute, the day before, not extremely last minute, we got these boards from Home Depot that I think they're advertised as two sides, whiteboard and chalkboard. About 2 feet by 4 feet, something roughly like that size. And we created this triangular box to put around these spotlights. And it blends in with the room so well, just like those clean white surfaces. We didn't have to spray paint it or anything. We just used a little bit of gaff tape to stitch it all together.
The inside
and
to hinge it
covered it like a shell over the projector, the spotlights. And this detail was very last minute with me putting the cables inside the box. Like that was you're just like, hey, put them in there, why not? Because I'm like, I don't want these just to be like on the ground connected to nothing, because we don't have anything for them to connect to. So I'm like, what makes sense right now? That makes sense. So we just threw them in the box, and it looks great. I love that detail.
I actually really enjoyed that too.
Talk about the fog machine.
Oh, that's right. We had a fog machine. So this fog machine I've actually had for, Scott and I both own it. We used the money that we made from one of our first shows when we played an early nights concert in like 2014, maybe 2015. One of the first like amounts of cash we were given at a gig. We bought this fog machine, and we haven't used this fog machine since like 2018 or 2019. And by the grace of fog, that thing still worked. So we were just loading it up with this ancient fog juice too. The juice isn't even new. The juice gallon
I didn't know that.
Just as old as sin. So we were loading it up with that, letting it heat up, like, well, fingers crossed it actually works. And the little light that tells you like, all right, I'm ready to go, you can like hit my button, actually worked. So we were just holding it, basically just pumping it for all it was worth. Like every time the light would come on, just like flooding the room with the fog, then waving it over to the light so that it has this kind of pillory, like almost like a pseudo sci-fi obelisk. I don't know, Stargate? No, it's not Stargate. I need to watch more sci-fi.
It was just a very beautiful shaft of lights coming from the triangular box, and the inside of it was black around the surfaces of the box. So when you looked and you peered inside of it, it felt so ethereal.
Just light coming in there. We were messing around with water bottles. We'd put like our faces over the light, everything, our hands. It's just a beautiful space to be in. And it was great because in between the takes, it was next to Schuyler's keyboards. So just in between the takes, we'd be like, all right, more fog, more fog. Skies, is it good? Is the light on? More fog. And we did that throughout the night.
It showed up so well on camera. I'm so happy with that. And I think something I said to you that you might remember is like, sometimes all you need is one light. That's all you need is just one light.
Just one light.
And we did for that entire blue sequence. And then for the red sequence, it was the nan lights on the ground. But I think keeping it simple sometimes just is so effective.
Yeah. It's, there's similar kind of feelings like that in music as well. A lot of people in electronic music, and especially when making lead sounds of synthesizers, people reach for using a lot of oscillators and detuning them or trying to use multiple waveforms. But a bit of knowledge that gets thrown around sometimes from the pros is that a really great lead line sometimes is just one oscillator. And maybe you're moving through its waveform, but it's just one oscillator with like the right volume on it basically, and the right notes being played, and it like stands out in the context of everything else like that. So yeah, I think that our tendencies to want to overdo things and want to throw as many things, throw the kitchen sink at everything all the time is something that we always have to temper. And this was one of those moments where, you just pulled it off, Punch, with one massive light, though. Yeah. It was a very magical room to be in. It felt really cool to just be in that room that night, to just kind of be hanging out even in between the takes. It was like, this is real? This is cool. This is a cool place right now.
Another lighting detail that I learned over time and after all my experiences, something called lighting ratios. And I think I may have said this to you one time before, especially after the karaoke promo that we made, in that when you do have several lights going on at the same time, you need to make sure that not everything is at 100%, because that kind of defeats the effect of creating depth in your scene and having that balance within certain lights that you want to emphasize. So I definitely learned that a lot and utilized it for this music video with the hallway lights and the light in the performance room. So I made sure to have all those lights in the hallway dimmed down so they weren't overpowering that blue lights in the blue room when we had all those shots of you walking down the hallway, which I had a lot of fun capturing those shots because we used my little egg skateboard to either sit on or stand on with Andrew pushing or pulling me to capture those dolly movements.
Great skateboard.
And it worked out. And I think just having clever solutions that would otherwise take a long time to set up tracks for a dolly that I don't have are just a lot of fun and very effective at the same time.
I mean, we also had like a great set of helping hands in the form of Andrew, who you were able to say like, all right, so Andrew, next time a little faster than what we were doing, a little slower. It's like, okay, cool, got it. And he was able to just adjust the rate at which he was pushing you to actually match whatever shot you wanted to get. It was excellent. And if you guys want to see what that egg skateboard looks like, go watch the music video to Lou Beauty's song Bank Account and look for Emile, right? I think he's writing it in that one, right?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. If you want to know what that egg skateboard looks like, look at what Emile's writing in Lou Beauty's Bank Account video. Because it's a hilariously shaped skateboard, but it's so convenient with that size. It's like a dolly. It's a great thing.
Yeah. The only challenge that I noticed that I was not expecting is having to keep my weight kind of balanced so that it doesn't turn as it's being pushed or pulled because the trucks
were a little loose.
Yeah,
they're a little more.
I guess I could have tightened it, but I was not prepared for that.
Did you bring your Shorty's skate tool, bro?
No, not today.
Your Chad Muska skate tool?
Bummer, dude. Forgot all about it.
Bummer. Next time. Next time. I loved that hallway shot. I loved I loved that whole sequence because I'm just like a sucker for those feelings of like sci-fi kind of thriller, not Michael Jackson thriller, though I'm a huge fan, but those psychological thrillers where it's like, what's really going on? Not necessarily sci-fi where like we are in space on like a space station, but sort of like you just got transported to this hallway, kind of a liminal space feeling. These lights are in the frames of the door.
Very popular right now, liminal spaces.
Oh yeah,
the back rooms. Maybe inspiration for her next project.
Actually, it's just nothing but liminal space. Hey, never say never. But I'm just such a huge fan of that. I think that I think there's just so many movies that I saw as a kid that had scenes like that, and that was where they built tension. That when you showed me the visual script or visual storyboard, that was going to be a part of it, I was just so excited immediately for those scenes because I was like, it's going to be so cool. Like, I've just been transported somewhere. How do I express like the confusion, but also the curiosity that like there's a guitar at the end of the hallway, there's this blue light from this room at the end of the hallway. Like, I just loved that, and it was really fun too because it might not look it from the looks of the hallway, but Keaton and I were really close to each other for a lot of those shots, actually. Like, you were, like, right here, like, trying to...
Yeah, this was no set hallway. This was a
real hallway.
A legitimate hallway.
You're squeezing yourself so that you didn't cast a shadow from the lights going in, like, one of the other directions as well, and then following with me, and then giving me a little bit like, okay, keep the pace, okay, maybe look once more, okay, oh, don't slow down. Okay, got it. Like, it was just like great. It was like this weird dance that we all got to do with Andrew, with Penellope and Jon, like behind us as well, capturing parts of it. It was just a wonderful scene for me to film. I really love that. It really felt like movie making magic. Like, loved that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it all turned out incredibly well. I'm so proud of just every single shot in that music video.
Yeah.
And that final day was very, very easy in comparison to all the technical shots that we had prior, and we accomplished it all in about 3 hours. I think we were just like 15 minutes over schedule, which is very great when you talk about filmmaking schedules, because sometimes it's like hours.
Oh yeah,
Could
days,
be hours.
yeah.
Days.
Also really good for me, because usually I waste a lot of time whenever we're in the middle of filming something. So really good for me, a personal record of only being 15 minutes over time.
And that wraps up the production side of things.
Yeah.
I handled all the post-production. I just did it all kind of on a day-by-day basis. After filming, I would go home, review all the footage, put everything that was perfect into the timeline, and then made note of anything that we could do better.
Yep.
So that we could schedule that for the reshoot day that we did prior to the day at Mesh.
Yeah.
And I think I got it all done like within 15 hours total, so not that long at all. It was pretty straightforward, especially with having that descriptive shot list already laid out as just like instructions for me to know where each shot would go within the timeline. And I don't think there were any effects I had to do. There was a very specific camera move that I had to do to transition during the band performance from the blue lighting to the red lighting. And I wish this was captured on video. It is in a picture from Penellope, but Jon missed this moment where I had to fix my camera onto the tripod in the horizontal position and use the arm of the tripod to just rotate it 360 degrees.
Do a barrel roll.
Yeah, like a barrel roll transition, which I had never done before. I had practiced for like 10 minutes at home that day of filming beforehand. just to make sure I could do it.
I didn't even know you'd practiced it.
Yeah. I just wanted to know like if it was possible or not. And I'm like, okay, it is possible. We're gonna make this happen, because I wanted a really cool transition, because you came up with an entirely new ending for the song compared to what's
that's right.
streaming.
That's why we had to do it. Yeah, I was like, we just did an ending. Sorry, that is right. So if anyone is wondering like what's going on with the video version, and this is not unheard of, there's plenty of artists that I love that I remember growing up and seeing the video and then listening on the CD or online or wherever we were in terms of technology, and then noticing that the video version was different than what the studio recorded version that's put out was. And this ending came about because when we were rehearsing, and I mean Scott, Schuyler, Zach, and I, when we were rehearsing for some of the performances that we had over the summer, you're a bunch of musicians hanging out together. It's not like you're always just going to rehearse and then end the song and be like, all right, done, move to the next one. Like, no, we mess around. Like, you leave us alone for like any amount of time and we just start messing around on our instruments. Well, at the end of this song, of Place Me, I think Scott or Schuyler just didn't want to stop playing. So just like, instead of ending the song, just like went into something even bigger. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I started like playing something in the same key that would work over it. And then Schuyler in particular changed like this chord progression and added a new synth that he then started pitch bending down in between the chord transitions. And we were like, this is the coolest thing like ever. So we all said like, this actually should be part of the live performance of the song. This should be how we perform the song live. And then we got this SD card expansion. Whoa, it's like a moth. This SD card expansion for our mixer that we use live, so that we could record all of the tracks like individually of the instruments going into the mixer. And Schuyler was really a big proponent of this. Like, he's like, no, this will be awesome. Like, you will have all the tracks, then we can mix it. We can not just see how we sound live, but we can do creative things. And if we do something on the fly, you have it captured, which was an excellent move on his part, Schuyler, on your part, excellent move. So we had that from our performance, and we had, I think even maybe a part of it was maybe from one of our rehearsals where there was just like a really good moment either on the drums or on my guitar, and we comped it all together. And we made like this, what I've been calling like the bonus ending. Like, I don't know what to call it. It sounds like a token, like thing at Chuck E. Cheese, like the bonus ending. But that was blended into the end of the song there, so that it would reflect kind of the energy that we have when we actually are playing it live at the end. And I'm so happy that got to be a part of it now, because I know so many people listen to music primarily through YouTube rather than on other types of streaming services that are audio only. So to know that there's going to be a lot of people who hear the song that way as the primary format is just awesome. Like, I just think it's great. Like, the more the merrier. More versions of songs. It's just a bigger and better and more diverse package for everybody to enjoy. Yeah.
And we've also heard firsthand from some people that they've grown to like the song even more after seeing it accompanied by the music video, which I think is great. That's one of my goals every time I make a music video is I want to enhance the song and almost make it feel like the song was made for the video.
Yeah. I think, I mean, honestly, that's like, the best marker of whether it works really well. It's just sort of like you didn't throw something together. You didn't force something that you wanted to have happen. It like really reflects the vibe, which I mean, I appreciate that, which is why you didn't say, like, I've always wanted to make a video that did this. Your song will do. It was like, no, you listen to the song a lot and you say, what can actually serve the song and how can this song serve some other type of visual creative vision? And that's how it always ends up working out so well. That's how it always works so well. But I got questions for you, man. I have questions.
Yeah. You got more?
Yeah, I got.
I was about to wrap this thing up.
I got.
Let's see.
Not a lot. It's not a lot. Don't worry.
I'm not sure how long these lights are going to be alive for. They might be dying soon.
Got a little bit of ASMR for everybody here. Okay. So, is there any mishaps during the production that you want to share with anyone?
Okay, yes. We had one small accident that I can recall. Maybe a few boo-boos and scrapes.
Boo-boos and scrapes is a good way to say it.
But when it comes to me personally, there was a moment on the first day of production where we were getting the shots and I had the microphone attached to the camera for that POV perspective. And after getting the shots, we can hear that playing. What is that?
Wow.
The show must go on. I got the shot and I had to turn around and I wasn't completely aware of the length of the microphone as it was attached to me, getting whipped around like a wrecking ball. And as I'm moving, the microphone swings around and gets caught underneath a tire of a car that's parked. And it's already too late for me to stop. I'm already moving and the microphone just gets stuck and it yanks the camera off my monopod, and the Pro Mist filter that I love so much gets cracked.
Damn.
Nothing happens to my lens, thankfully.
Thank God.
And it wasn't a big enough drop to affect my camera.
Yep.
It was just a few inches off the ground, but still, it cracked my Pro Mist filter, which is not cheap. And I thought it was ruined, and I thought I would have to toss it, but we did a few takes, and I realized, it actually creates some really stylish looking lens flares with these cracks, and I never took it off. I kept it on the lens the entire shoot, even to the very end at Mesh with the band performance. It complemented all the shots, and I thought it looked really cool.
So you guys get to see like the real, you're like looking through the scars of filmmaking, like through the end of the whole thing. So appreciate that. Okay. Only 2 more questions. Okay. Was there any inspiration that you got while working on this project? Things that you encountered or things that you didn't expect to turn out so well that you think, this makes me think that I'd like to do this next thing in my creative visions? Because you don't just make music videos. You do anything under the sun that is creative. But I want to know if there's anything from this video that wasn't just like the video being the final product, more like the video being the source of inspiration, and now you're like, you know what? That's given me a hankering for going and doing this. Or I should use this lighting style for something else now that I've figured it out. Or what have you.
I do feel that discovering how effective the Easy Rig bicycle combo is for getting those moving action shots did make me think that it could be used much more in the future, because I had never seen anyone else ever do that technique. And just to see the results, I was convinced and inspired to do it again more in the future. So I think just that technique, that iconic Keaton on a bicycle with the Easy Rig and the bike, will be used more in the future for shots that require movement down streets.
And then the last question, so I don't need the paper anymore. Last question. Anyone who's seen the video knows that these Nikes played a pretty big role in it. All right? Now, we did choose shoes. We did. I do own more than one pair of shoes. And we thought, well, what can I run in? And I want to ask you now, how grateful are you, given recent events, that I don't own a pair of Yeezys? that we didn't have me in Yeezys at any point, because that could have been a very bad shadow hanging over our heads.
Aged poorly.
Yeah, aged poorly in a week.
I would have never considered Yeezys. I'm already a fan of Nikes. I got my Nikes on. Everyone always compliments mine.
Get 'em.
And I just knew that something like yours would be perfect. And a small little detail that I was not doing intentionally, but having that blue swoosh was kind of tying in with the blue theme that we had in the video.
Actually.
And yeah, that was not planned, but I like to think that subconsciously I knew about it happening all along.
Yeah, it's one of those English lit moments where it's just kind of like, it really was there for, I don't know. We can dig down deep into authorial intent. I know there's lots of debate over it, but that's not for this conversation. That's not for this video.
No. We'll wrap this up in just a minute. I had one more thought I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
So we first started working together near the beginning of last year. It's only been almost 2 years now. We're getting to the end of 2022. And you reached out seeing if I'd be interested to make a music video with you. Mm-hmm. And you had already had a few songs or several songs recorded and ready to go. And I was a fan of a lot of it, and I was inspired, and we made Cost of Waiting. And I never thought it would go this far. You know, in the beginning, I think we were just like, yeah, we'll make one, maybe two, see where it goes. Yeah. But we just keep making more, and you have more songs coming soon. Yeah. So how do you feel about that just happening with us continuing to keep going with every song? It seems like we're not going to miss any.
I think that this is, I think our approach is very representative to what modern art looks like. I have written about this in like a caption before, so not like a formal academic paper, but my thoughts about art and things that I like that really matter to me, like music or performance or filmmaking, are really in line with like a newer school of philosophy that talks about what is called the culture industry. To just boil it down really quickly, it's that a lot of art, once we turn it into an industry, what you do is you corrupt the people chasing the artistic value of it, because now there is some other industrial value to it, whether it's money, the most obvious one, or using it for other purposes. The idea to me isn't that, people are always just full-time artists and you have, A-list actors and like huge Grammy award-winning musicians, and they're the ones who make music, and these are the people who make movies, yada yada. The dream is that everyone has the time to make music. Anyone, no matter their job, no matter where they are in life, anyone has the time to make movies. The only way to do that is if you don't compromise what you're pursuing, if you still just kind of pursue the art. I think what we have fallen into is that you and I both really like to pursue just the creative vision. Like, we really love to think of a new idea and say, like, how can we have a lot of fun making it? How can it be something that when we look back on it, we go, oh man, like that emotion. Like, I don't want to ascribe a word to it. Like, it's cool, it's breathtaking. No, it's that emotion. It's it's the thing that you saw that you can't believe, like, you were a part of it. Like, whoa. You and I really chase that a lot as people, so I think it just became harmonious instantaneously. And I think this is probably, personally for me, you'd have to tell me you, and I won't take offense, but for me, I think this is one of the most surefire paths to me becoming a better artist, is rather than trying to like, oh, go, do this, it's like, we have found a cadence that works really well, and taking that far, like continuing to grow that, getting better at what we each do, and then getting better at the things we do together, is what is going to take me personally, like in my understanding of the things that I make, as well as the things I can contribute to, like the projects I can contribute to. It's what will push me always to the farthest, and what will make me the better musician, the better actor, the better assistant in lighting or anything like that. So I'm 100% for it. Like, I think that you ride the wave, man.
Yeah, I think I think the reason why we've stuck with working with each other for so long and doing all these music videos, this has been our 6th one since our start of it all. It's just because we work really well together, and it's a growing process where we're both getting better with each one and learning new skills and challenging ourselves to try ambitious ideas that other people would be kind of scared to do, and it can be scary, but that's why you just got to try it and see, do some tests beforehand and see if it works. And I think that's what makes it the most fun, is just discovering what we're capable of with our limitations, with our resources.
We're only human. That's our limit, is this flesh.
And just with who we are able to have help us, because our ambitious ideas cannot be done with us too. We need the extra help. We need the collaboration.
Everybody.
And it's just great to have these connections to achieve these very grand ideas. And who knows what our next 2 videos will look like.
Yeah.
But I am down to try something even more different than anything we've ever done before, because that's the path we've been on, is make it different from the last one.
Yep.
Don't do the same thing again.
Absolutely not.
And yeah, we'll figure it out. I believe our next one on the list is How You See Me.
Yeah.
Which we did foreshadow at the very end of this music video in the credits, that nobody picked up on, at least for the first viewing, because I had taken the intro of How You See Me, the audio, and slowed it down by about 50%, added a bunch of reverb, and made it sound completely different as the credits were rolling. And I think people were just kind of encaptured by the visual of that hallway dolly shots with the red flashing light. It felt very ominous. I believe Diego said it made him think of The Shining as he was watching it. So yeah, that's probably going to be our next music video. We can tackle it as soon as we're ready. We got to think of some ideas first. I'm not ready to think of something yet.
It'll come to us in a dream, Keaton.
What are the first lines of the song?
Wait. Dun, 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 dun. Here's the noise.
Here's the noise. Ooh.
Here's the taste.
That's my inspo.
Here's the noise.
The taste.
Here's the taste. It's just a food-based one now.
Yeah. Well, if you have not seen the Place Me music video, why are you here? Go watch it. It's been out for a while already. It's amazing. We're so proud of it. So I hope you share it with all your friends and family. And if you're here in Bakersfield and want to contribute or collaborate with us or support us in our next productions, let us know. We're always down to work with new people.
Really, we are.
Or if you have some really cool locations that we could utilize, let us know.
Oh my gosh, of course. And we love to celebrate all the different parts in town and all the different places too. So I mean, that's why we give big ups to Mesh and big ups to the neighborhoods of Bakersfield as well for keeping the streets clean enough for us to skate on. Thanks.
Thank you for watching. See you later.
See you later.
Bye.